welcome to my channel. I'm Spiritually Key, and we're back at it again with the Robe Chronicles for Self Discovery Sundays. Look, Self Discovery Sundays doubles as Self Care Sundays because, look, I'm recording this from my home, and so I would hope that you're watching it, perhaps from your home as well. But it's giving holistic lifestyle, like mind, body, soul. I hope you meditated and renewed your mind today. You worked out, exercised for your body. And so here we are for the soul. Okay. I just felt that it was a little look, a little Japanese inspired look. It's giving otaku girl. But yes, it's all a journey here. Okay. I think even as you guys might have noticed, maybe you haven't, I have the candles lit today because a friend girl of mine was like, the candles weren't lit. And then we also had a music journey last time, right? But I was thinking about it because I told my other friend girl about the music and how, I was like, oh, I should have turned it down, in the middle because it was a little, and she's like, yeah, out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere. And she's from the Philippines, and y'all, Filipino sarcasm hit different, okay? So it was just hilarious. So let's just get right into it. Welcome to the Honey Follow Your Bliss podcast, where self discovery and spirituality meet. I am your host, Spiritually Key, and if you're tuning in, then you're in tune and exactly where you need to be. So we are on episode one. Episode one of the podcast's Self Discovery Sundays with a topic on how do I hear my intuition. And there are a lot of ways we could take this, but first of all, what is intuition? Like, you hear everyone talking about it, right? What is intuition? Follow your intuition. And if I had to define it in simpler terms, I would say it is your inner guidance and trust, your inner guidance and trust from the co created bond between you here on earth, your higher self, the higher realms, to include your God of resonance, should that be Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whomever you pray to of the highest divine white light. And spending time alone, in my opinion, is the most reliable way to hear your intuition. I know, Shadi, spending time alone can be scary, especially since we are natural beings of association, whether that's in connecting things, thoughts, and beliefs, or from a sense of belongingness to people and places. And then we're reminded from upbringing through to our adult life of our interrelatedness at every level through these institutions and culture. So, my secret to spending time alone has been in finding practices I can regularly return to, um, for building that internal foundation so that I'm able to navigate the society we live in today. And it's practices that compassionately invite self reflection and an honest review of relationship as it pertains to those people, places, and things I'm interacting with. And honestly, whether they're positively or negatively serving me. So, meditation is at the core of my practices. And I find that I can take anything outside of myself and understanding there and then be confirmed with things in my external reality. And then, when done with the purest intent, I do believe that it is the direct connection to something higher. And I've coupled it with scripture, signs in nature, numerology, and so much more spiritually to find that confirmation. So I know this may feel contradictory to many who may have more traditional ways of practicing faith and spirituality. And so I want to be mindful to say that my only intention here is to encourage those feeling completely disconnected and have tried conventional ways, and then those who are struggling in the current beliefs that they have from traditional or spirituality that hasn't been done in this way. And so, if it even saves one person from the depression and anxiety, and where we're well aware those conditions and states of being can progress to, then a little seasoning over here, a little seasoning over there it is. So many of us, including myself, are still learning how to heal and recondition these understandings and projections that were misplaced onto us even before birth. So I think in this particular time and space, there's a need, a yearning even, to unapologetically explore how to get back to receiving those well deserved gifts of life. But of course, before the gifts comes the work, and that work starts from within. So, we often ask ourselves, well, what's holding me back from positive growth and expansion, dreams realized? And a big part of that are our uh, outdated beliefs, thoughts, and ideas. So, we need to give ourselves permission to try again, and this time replace what's no longer positively helpful or serving us with something new, some different way. And there are different people who may be fearful to leave um, these different traditions and thoughts and beliefs. And then you have those who are like, well, what's the point? I've tried all these different things and I'm still getting the same results. And I guess I have to say the reality is just that the only constant here is change. So to adapt is not only to survive, but it's also where you can give yourself a chance to position and align so that in due time, which most times time is a factor, in due time, you can receive those opportunities that are presenting or will present themselves as a force of positive change. And if you don't make a choice to, if we're talking about survival here, compete differently, then you'll lose that battle every time. So we come back to how can I hear my intuition? And again, in accordance with how we defined intuition, it is twofold. So, first, it's the spending time alone to develop spiritual practices and learning what it is we'd like to adopt in our day to day. And then, and that's to build up the inner guidance part, right, of intuition. But then on the flip side, we still have the trust portion within that bond, right? And so on the trust portion, it's going to be a matter of practicing what we developed in private so that we can discern and confirm that which is guided versus that which is outside of us or based on the ego or anything that wouldn't move us forward. And so therein lies the example of me trying and practicing my own development and intuition. This was about 2 years ago now that I basically was in a toxic work environment, and I was just moving through the motions of the job after I'd reached this point of burnout. And because it was my livelihood, which was my sense of security and stability, I just kept hitting this wall, going up this uphill battle, and it was no longer serving me. And so, I had to sit with myself, and I'd developed, my meditation practices, and I had to really look at, what would it be like if I left this job? And I almost felt forced because of just how personal it became. And you never want to have anybody, anything outside of you check your worth like that. It's you who needs to make that choice, recognizing the signs, and then getting confirmation from the intuition that you've developed. And if I had been mindful of what I was being led to do, then it wouldn't have been so chaotic and I wouldn't have been as burnt out at the end. And, you know, when I did decide to quit, that was just like, well, what am I going to do now? Yeah, because I didn't have nothing lined up, girl. I ain't had nothing lined up. I have nothing lined up, boy. But I kind of did actually. I was in the midst of an interview process, and it was a position that I really wanted, but it was in a different city. And so I was like, "Ah, this seems far fetched, but I keep getting these signs and synchronicities." And I just felt like, okay, what you trying to say, God? What you trying to say, higher self? Like, how am I going to get over there? And what am I going to do? And so, I just followed my gut. I followed the feelings. The practices paid off. The trust paid off. And it was like every step that I took was, I had support behind me, out of nowhere. And I think out of nowhere, it reminds me of when my friend was talking about the music from last video. But yeah, out of nowhere, it felt like. And, the key there was the faith from the work that I had been doing on myself, and trusting that, okay, I don't have all of the pieces to the puzzle, but I've released one thing, so something new is coming in. And it's just a matter of one foot in front of the other. Because intuitively, I knew that this felt right. And, I knew that I wasn't being treated well at the job that I had, just before I resigned. And I just had to take a leap of faith. And I think that, there were like 13 to 15 other candidates for the job that was in a different city. And I relocated. I called some family to help, which they had their own busy lives. And to some degree, it was going to be a big um, investment in the baby girl. And it was just a quick turnaround, and so, and a big time investment, and it was a short turnaround. And so I just thought, well, we've got to do this so tight to where, it's like a switcheroo, and then I'm right in there. I mean, my lease was expiring from the place that I was in initially, location A, location B, okay? It was expiring, and I was like, I don't know the how, But I feel that this is going to come to fruition and with an ease. And it was a little bit of bumpy bump, but the change, the reward for saying goodbye for this new hello was a huge increase in salary. It was more developmental, and I just needed to leave relationships and connections, and there were other things surrounding that move. And it wasn't just, I would think like, oh, okay, I'm just changing jobs, but no, like I was doing the work on myself to where I no longer resonated with certain people anymore outside of the job, close friends, and I distanced myself from them as well. And in that time between relocating and resigning, not knowing for sure that I would get the new job, but still moving on faith and intentional action and praying and meditating and journaling to clear my thoughts. Because once you set an intention, you want to follow behind that. With your intuition, it's like, okay, I'm doing the practices. I need to include the trust. And so it was very public how I resigned. I mean, I didn't just like walk out there and throw the papers up like, bye, y'all. No, it was just more of like people were aware in that department of job A how, there were these issues that were imbalanced. And, to some degree, I might have even been villainized. But so it was a spectacle in the sense of like, well, where is she going? And well, she always was like that. That's what this person said about her. And it was all these rumors, baby. And then the whole time, God, my higher self, my spirit family, the connection that I have was moving me to safety, right? So sometimes these contracts with different things we interact with in our life, whether it's people, the relationships, the jobs, sometimes they're only there for a certain time frame through a certain, you know, severity in how they feel, and then they're over. And that's what I meant by time being a factor, divine timing. So many other factors and things have to come into play with the connectivity of how things work here in the world. And so it's not always on your time, or sometimes it's the perfect time because you were building that momentum. And that's what I was doing. I was in the lab, honey, in the lab, praying, meditating, and journaling and breaking down, what could I have done differently and what did I stand for that I needed to, or what did I allow that I needed to stand up for, right? There's so many lessons about how we value ourselves in relation to things outside of us. And every time you choose yourself, you're rewarded. So, how you hear your intuition, you have to practice it. After you feel like, okay, I've done different practices and I'm in this particular faith, then take the action behind what it is you say you believe in. Because that's how we bring in exactly what we desire. And the good thing about it is I'm taking that same level of faith in starting this channel and sharing my lessons and blessings. And hopefully, there's at least one thing that resonates with you that allows you to feel like, okay, that's confirmation. Or maybe I should try that. Because it's been a continuous learning process for me as well. And it's going to continue to be that way. But, I'm a living, breathing example of following your intuition. And that's why I created the Follow Your Bliss podcast, because we are going to be meeting every Self-Discovery Sunday to break down those things that are limiting us and learn new ways to build that inner guidance and to trust. And, my plans are to bring in other speakers, others who have mastered different practices, different lessons, so that we can kind of continue, establishing what are our next steps and how that looks through other people. And I don't know where that journey will go, but I do know I don't want anyone feeling isolated in the ways that I felt over the course of my life. And you all will get to know exactly who I am. But I want to start from somewhere. And that's what today's podcast is about. Starting from where you are and developing that sense of self and that connection, because it will get you rewards that you never imagined. And we're going to follow our bliss. We're going to follow that intuition. We're going to follow those good feelings, knowing that we did the work to now trust ourselves. So remember, when you follow your bliss, the illusion is nixed. And that's what we're going to be doing every Sunday. So I just want to thank you all. And with that being said, I will see you on next Self-Discovery Sundays episode. I'll put that soon in the community post. Maybe drop a couple of shorts. Okay. But we'll meet back again next Sunday to talk about a next topic. If you guys have any ideas of what you'd like to cover, feel free to drop that in the comment box below. Tell me what did or didn't resonate. And then always feel free to email me at spirituallykiki to share any of your stories and just what you've overcome from hearing and following your intuition. But until next time, love always, spiritually key.